Good morning. Good morning. I guess what we're really talking about this morning is stupid people doing stupid things. And, well, let's see where it goes. Good morning. So little housekeeping up front. I'm going to do kind of a short show today. I'm going to cut it off a little early because I've got to get out the door and get down the road to my first shoot, my first appointment this morning. And good God. Anyway, so some things happened over the weekend. Looks like Alex Jones is back on X, which is amusing. And this is not what we're going to be talking about this morning so much. We're going to be talking about the Penn State, Harvard University presidents and stepping down. But there was apparently a what do they call them, a hangout, whatever, on a live stream on X with Elon and Alex Jones and Patrick Bet-David and a handful of other people. That was a pretty long hangout, as I understand. And of course, there was probably a lot of really interesting and probably even shocking conversation going on there. I haven't listened to it yet. And frankly, the only reason I'm even aware of it at this point is while I was doing my research on this morning's topic, I saw some comments that apparently right in the middle of this thing, Vivek Ramaswamy got up to go take a piss and forgot to mute his microphone, and that's what everybody's talking about. So that's hilarious. And some people are suggesting, and I don't think it's unreasonable, that it was not an accident, that he did it on purpose. And you know what? If that's true, it worked. I mean, it worked. Well done, my man. So here's what we're going to talk about this morning. I've got a 2.5-minute clip from the hearing where the presidents from University of Pennsylvania and Harvard are asked the question about university policy on hate speech, harassment, etc., with relation to basically their student body speaking in active support of Hamas. So before I play the clip, I want to clarify something. Personally, I don't have a lot of investment or interest in what goes on between Israel and Hamas. I don't have any particular affection for Israel in general, but I don't have a problem with Israel either, again, generally. That said, Hamas is evil. But I'm far more interested in American interests. And frankly, we are currently paying out so much in foreign aid and spending so much of our precious blood and treasure on other people's problems while our own house is on fire that it aggravates me to death to hear these conversations even happening. And the only reason I feel a need to weigh in on those conversations is to say, leave them alone. Let these people have their problems and burn their own houses down. Stop throwing our good money after bad investments when we have plenty of problems that need to be solved at home, not least of which are the migrant spill-off into hostile foreign invaders resultant from all of those crises which are affecting our southern border. Now, there's a good argument to be made in what I just said, that is what makes those problems our problems. And there's some truth to that, but we could deal with a lot of our problem, a lot of what their spill-off becomes to be our problem, by simply locking the fucking door. Shut the border down. Shut it down. But let's get to this and talk about this a little bit, because I've got some theories and some ideas, because while everything I just said is true and I hold to it, part of what makes that a problem worth discussing is the way that the discussion of those problems is deleteriously infectious to our own institutions.
Ms. Macgill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically.
Okay, is it just me? Is this, look at this creepy ass smile when she actually starts speaking.
No.
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today, calling for the genocide of Jews.
Okay. I am not a free speech absolutist as much as I want to be. And the reason that I'm not a free speech absolutist is because, well, you don't get to show my children pornography. Now, that said, when it comes to the question of people advocating for the genocide of other people, yes, please. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know who you are. I want those people to know who you are. I want to rebut your argument with my own argument. And hey, this one goes out to John Kerry. Anybody that's calling for genocide, maybe you ought to give them a listen, because they're doing you a favor, Mr. We need a sudden decimation of world population to save the, I don't know, fucking polar bears or something. He doesn't seem to know either. He just wants to kill a bunch of people. But, if your bar doesn't serve blacks, I think everybody should like to know that. If you're a black-owned business and you don't want to do business with white people, I'd like to know that. Right? I'd rather know that before walking in, so I don't have to walk in and be made uncomfortable. Or I can choose to come in and make you uncomfortable by being there. I want to know that. Right? So I am closer to a free speech absolutist than many. But I'm not an absolutist. Like I said, there's no place for pornography in public schools. Although I will admit that that's a bit of a misnomer. The public school system is a profane institution to begin with. But to the extent that a person might make arguments for the causing of harm, as long as that argument is making the argument and not offering instruction, then we're talking about two very different categories of speech. So, to such an extent, I would actually say that the answer the presidents gave here, if they're speaking, that's fine until it becomes conduct. That I would argue that's a defensible position. However, we're talking about the presidents of universities. We're talking about the presidents of universities who have policies which will see students expelled for using the wrong pronouns with trannies, for eating jelly-filled donuts where fat people can see it, for not eating jelly-filled donuts if you're fat, for fat phobia, for they'll throw you out if you don't want to have a homosexual roommate because you're a religious person or just not interested in hearing the stories. You're not allowed to have any wrong think position. You're not allowed to espouse any wrong think position. You're not allowed to disagree with the presence of pornography in schools. You're not allowed to believe or express the belief that being more abundantly obese is deleterious to one's health. These things are verboten. The fact is, you're not allowed to have the wrong think, but you are allowed to advocate for the genocide of the Jews. There's only one reasonable conclusion that can be drawn from that. The genocide, advocacy for the genocide of Israel, of the Jewish people, is not in the same category of wrongthink as the other speech that I have listed as examples of these objectionable commentaries. Rounding up a people and exterminating them is not, according to the testimony from the presidents of these universities, is not inconsistent with what is allowable within the confines of academia, which is to say, it is not objectionable within the confines of the Democrat Party narrative, the Democrat Party platform. They're comfortable with euthanasia. Now, that is not a revelation by any means, right? Throughout the entire ascent of the German Nazi Party, the American Democrat was very much pro-euthanasia, pro-eugenics, right? That was always a part of their platform. You take Planned Parenthood, for example. Margaret Sanger, famous eugenicist, and she was very clear that the point to Planned Parenthood was to sterilize and exterminate the black population in America. It's not, we're not treading new ground here with these people.
Is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. Macgill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it if the
Yes
speech
or no?
becomes, if the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. Macgill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Now, they keep saying depending on the context, but here's the thing. The policies of these universities, the way they, I cannot say this for a certainty, but you have all seen policies like these in writing. And what they say is almost universally boilerplate, something to the effect that any speech which disparages or discriminates against any person for, and then it gives you the list, right? Age, race, sex, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, country of origin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so to say that it's depending on the context is to say that that the university itself, the leadership of the university, has singled out a group of people. And when you're talking about Jews, the word Jew entails the connotation of an ethnicity, of a national origin, of a religion, of a race, right? I mean, that word by itself is 4 categories, at least. There's even a pretty solid theological argument that Jew is a sexual orientation, because that's a fun joke for you to play with. I'm not going to expand on it anymore, but they're essentially singling out that group of people, that category of people, as an exception to the protections against harassment. Now, like I said, I'm good with the speech. Say what you need to say what you want to say, and be prepared for criticism and argument. Be prepared for rebuttal. And hell, be on occasion prepared for some agreement. Let's see how that works out for you. But what they're doing categorically, by legal definition, is they are operating in explicit contravention, not only to their own policy on harassment, but the law as regards the same instance. And that is the fact. So, and I said I need to wrap this up early, and it's about that time. So, I'll go ahead and pull. Let's see. I got this one from CNN Business that covers both of the last pieces of the topic that I wanted to discuss. No, it covers 2 of the 3 last pieces I want to discuss. So, pressure grows on Harvard President Claudine Gay after Penn's Liz Magill resignation. So you saw that it was Liz Magill that we saw the most testimony out of in that exchange, and she has now tendered her resignation. Apparently, she's staying on as a tenured professor, so she'll still be there and infecting Harvard with what she is. Infecting University of Pennsylvania with what she is. President Claudine Gay has not yet resigned, but there is pressure being placed upon her to do so. And then finally, I want to close on this, and then I've got some thoughts on it. So Dave Portnoy, the Barstool sports guy, says he won't be hiring any more people from 3 specific universities. Those are, of course, University of Pennsylvania, Harvard, and MIT. And all for the same reason. David Portnoy attends the annual, that's the caption. We don't need that. Barstool Sports owner Dave Portnoy has made up a blacklist of 3 colleges he said he won't be hiring students from until their president stepped down. So I guess you can get in if you're from Penn State now, or UPenn rather. The company has gone through cuts this year, but still has hundreds of employees and is expected to make hires in the future. However, 3 colleges are now banned as it pertains to their students getting jobs there. Portnoy has declared that he won't be bringing anyone from Harvard, Penn, or MIT, and after watching their presidents give congressional testimony in which they refused to say that urging a Jewish genocide was against school conduct. Now, let's be real. The graduates of these universities likely are not seeking employment with Portnoy to begin with, because Portnoy has been vocally conservative. And these universities, quite clearly, are just brainwashing machines for the left. So I don't expect that this will actually hurt a lot of people. It's a very nice vocal sentiment, but here's what can hurt. Any large company that currently employs any alumni from any major university, fuck them. Now, it is impossible. Almost. You'd have to go pretty far back in the woods and start, skinning your kills to make dinner and your clothing to boycott everything. But how about this? Just start saving your money, pay down your credit cards, get out of debt, start piling up wealth. Stop letting your money go any further than you absolutely have to into the world of the enemy. Just like we bought our big brother, we bought our phones that have provided us with the functional surveillance state in the new American panopticon, as we've discussed on the show many times in the past. We are funding the giant lobbying corporations that are cannibalizing the American dream in favor of profitability in foreign interests. I'm all for making a profit. I love my money. I am a devout capitalist. But loyalty matters. Loyalty is a far more valuable currency. Starve them. Starve them. All right. I'm going to have to put a pen in it there. I got to get down the road. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.